Hey, it's Coach Jeremy Williams here with the SOAR community, and I'm so excited today about our guest, Keith Strahan. And Keith is the co-founder of the Fulton Strahan Law Group right here in Houston, Texas. Good morning, Keith.
Hey, Jeremy, how are you, sir?
Oh, doing great, doing great. I'm excited about this morning, and this video is going to be more of an introductory to who Keith is, and as he interacts and engages with you in the community, you'll be like, okay, that's the guy.
Yeah, that's right.
So excited about that, and excited about jumping into a few questions today. And wanted to start with telling me a little bit about Fulton Strahan. How did you arrive at that?
Yeah, well, first, Jeremy, I love what you're doing. I've just seen the activity that's going on, especially with SOAR, and so I'm excited to be a part of this. And so, thank you for asking me. I think this is a great thing for entrepreneurs and people who are trying to build their businesses. So, and that's what Fulton Strahan is all about, quite honestly. Is we built this law firm around helping and giving client service to small businesses, startups, and even some mid-sized businesses. We want to grow with businesses as they grow as well. And so we are a full service, as we say, a full service business law firm. The only thing that I don't do are tax and patents. But we have great lawyers that we work with that if you have some tax needs, we can send you there. But or if you are one of those people that are fortunate enough to have a patent, we can connect you with them. But everything else we do, we start from the beginning of the business, where on my side, where I help set you up, advise on your founding, your starting, your documents, and then of course the day-to-day operational needs that a business needs, employment issues, contracts, just general anything that would pop up, the day-to-day operations of your business, our law firm handles. And then also we have on the other side of the firm, this is what we call the transactional side. On the other side of the firm, we have, just in case something, drastic happens and you're in a lawsuit or you need to sue someone, the other side of our firm is the litigation. We really like to work together because not only does it help to have a business lawyer who understands litigation, but it also helps to have litigators that understand your business and understand, how to protect your business in the long run. And my job, first and foremost, is risk mitigation. An attorney can never eliminate risk, but my job is to help mitigate risk as much as possible. And so we have, decades of experience doing that, and that's why we built the firm, and that's what the firm is about.
Awesome. And what led you to the legal field? What gave you that desire to go and specifically help with small businesses?
Yeah, it's a great question. I actually was originally going to do a PhD in political philosophy. I went and got my master's and was applying to PhD programs. And then quite honestly realized that the life of a professor is not as glamorous or sexy or as, dare I say, lucrative, right? We are business owners. We care about profit. And so that's why I went to law school. It was something that I kind of maybe ran from my whole life. My sister is a lawyer, her husband's a lawyer. There's a lot of attorneys in our family. And so I've known what the legal field can do, and grow up in town with, where the attorneys were the respected people. So then I went to law school, and during that time, I became interested in really economics and in learning about entrepreneurship. And when I graduated law school, I did insurance defense, which means whenever you trigger your GL policy and that they hire the insurance attorney, that was me. And I realized during that time that if businesses had an attorney at the beginning, there's a lot of, I've seen businesses, people lose their business just because they didn't set up right, they didn't protect their assets, they didn't protect their business, they didn't have the right contracts in place, and so they at least had a GL policy, but sometimes that doesn't cover, and sometimes the coverage doesn't trigger. So I realized there was a need, especially in the Houston market and in Texas, that they needed someone who was focused on small businesses and startups from the very beginning of business. It's one of those things, I see this over and over again, is that, I'll hire an attorney when I need him or her. Well, that's too late a lot of the times. And so penny wise, pound foolish. Now, I'm not saying you need to spend a ton of money on an attorney at the beginning, and we'll talk about that. But it's something to at least have a relationship with someone that you can shoot quick questions to. And so That's what led me A, to the legal field, and then B, to act particularly helping small businesses, because there's just a need for it. People were afraid to talk to a lawyer because they're like, well, you're going to bill me. You're going to do this. Well, we built our law firm on not only provide a lot of free content, to be honest, but I understand small businesses. We are a small business. So I understand that the cost is important to you. And so we built our model and our pricing model that I think compensates for our expertise, but also helps you give predictability of cost to your business.
Yeah, and I think you probably hit on my next question. Is the biggest challenge on the legal front for small business owners is just not having that relationship or waiting until they get into the crisis where you might not be able to help them at that point.
That's right. It's a great, so the biggest challenge, I think, for small businesses, I don't even think it's the cost necessarily. I think it's finding the right fit and relationship person for you, right? You will spend, all kinds of time on Indeed to find an employee, and that's very valuable. But you won't spend, maybe 30 minutes a month or 30 minutes, each day trying to find the right lawyer that fits with your business. And a lot of times the right lawyer that fits with your business understands where you are as a business. And so I'm quite honest. Sometimes I'm quite honest with my clients. I'm like, you don't need me yet. Call me in 6 months. Don't do this. Don't do this. See you later. Right. Sometimes I say, yeah, you should have hired me 3 months ago. But here's what we can do now. Let's fix it now. And let's get this crisis under control. Let's get this fire put out. And then let's set you up successfully going forward. But as you're right, Jeremy, like it's just finding the right person and then, building that relationship so that if the businesses that I've been their attorney from the very beginning, when they call me with a crisis or they have an email, I don't need to spend 30 minutes to an hour learning their business. We've already had that conversation. So, it's cheaper in the long run, to be quite honest with you, right? You shoot me an email and, if you're a transaction company, right? And which Jeremy, we've worked with them before. And, I know what your business is like. I know, your 1099 issues or your employment issues. It's easier for me to answer your question real quick, in that email than, okay, let me spend an hour and charge you for that hour learning about, you tell me the background. So that's why a relationship is important. You may not need that lawyer, and hopefully you don't need that lawyer for a couple of years. But when you do call him or her, they understand your business.
Well, I think it's understand, and I think it's also trust. I think that's one of the hard things today.
Yes.
Trust somebody, and you can't necessarily trust somebody if you don't have a relationship. And going back to, having the relationship and sometimes, maybe not even needing you, is I had a situation a few months back where I sent you an email and you just kind of looked at it and you're like, yeah, don't worry about it. You don't need to do anything and you don't need me. Just move on. If it escalates, call me,
Yeah.
And it was a simple exchange of emails and it's exactly right. But I had that relationship to be able to trust you in that. And so that you can help me through it. So that's super important. What solutions or what would you recommend being a first step if someone was seeking to protect their business and ultimately, if they have a family, they're protecting their family as well?
It's a great question. And kind of, I take my ethics very seriously. That's another thing about our firm. So, everything we talk about today is not necessarily legal advice for your business. Reach out to me, reach out to a lawyer, as you said, Jeremy, that you trust to ask these questions to, but I am perfectly happy giving some general guidelines, and that's what I'll be doing in SOAR. It's just giving general advice. If you want specific advice, you're gonna have to call me because I have a license to protect, and so we take our ethics very seriously. But to answer your question, one of the first steps is let's just assume you built that relationship. You just need to have a kind of a business and family, and I'll separate the two a little bit. But the business, you just need to understand, what are you doing? What are the risks of your business, and how do I mitigate those risks? If you are if you are an individual like a realtor or someone who has a license, well, then the ethical rules of your license or the legal rules of your license are very important about what you can and can't do. Or let's say you're a Amazon retailer. Well, your risks are probably a little different, especially if you're using Amazon, as the warehouse for shipping and you're not storing anything. you're just doing maybe some widgets, if you will, your risk isn't that much. But if you're a trucking company and you've got 18 wheelers and you got 18 rigs out on the road, right? I mean, that's your risk is different. So first and foremost, understand what your risks are. And then, a good GL policy is always a good thing. It just really is. It may not be the cost that you need it yet, but it's something to talk to a lawyer about, or even a good insurance company about. And then the second thing, protecting your family is, well, what do you want to do with that business? What do you want to build? Some people just want to build a business to sell. And so you build. You're not as worried and not as much as keeping a legacy or building a succession plan in your business. Some people have businesses that last generations. Well, you want to be able to protect that business for generations. And so you may need and this is what it helps really from the very beginning. When you start to set up your legal entity and talk to a lawyer when you do that, your LLC, your Inc., it's very important to set it up from success from the very beginning. Too many times I had clients say, well, I just did this on LegalZoom. And to be honest with you, I'm sure it works 90% of the times, but 10% of the time is when it costs twice as much for me to fix something that you may have cut a corner, rightfully so. I mean, costs are expensive. I get it. But if you just sometimes I'm saying like, hey, here's what you need. You want to go do LegalZoom, go do it. But at least you had a conversation with an attorney about what you actually need and some of the things to be concerned about.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get back to you. What is the biggest challenge you've seen as a business owner?
To be quite honest, Jeremy, is finding good talent in this market, or even the market the past couple of years. That's been the biggest challenge we've had. We've been fortunate to have very good employees, and employees who come, they want to stay. The employees that leave, I'm very happy because most of the time, if they leave, they go to it's an attorney, they go to a bigger firm, or maybe they go in-house, and I consider that a success for me. That means I've trained someone who has marketable skills to go out there and do it. But that's the biggest challenge I have, is finding good talent, good help, if you will. Someone to help your business or to help your business grow, who understands that sometimes it's not about just taking a paycheck, especially as a small business. It's that, if you're a good business owner, you're going to reward loyalty. And we take that very seriously. I want to reward people who are loyal, but also who realize this is a business. This is something, it's a job. That's my biggest challenge right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting bringing that up. I've heard that a lot lately, especially since the whole debacle with Corona and everything else that's going on, is that the talent pool has become a little bit more challenging. And I've heard that quite often is we've got opportunities.
Yeah.
Just got to find the right match, the right person. So what is the biggest success as a business owner?
I would say on the flip side is when you do find people that work for your business and identifying those people, everything growing together. To be quite honest, and during the pandemic, we didn't grow exponentially, but we also didn't, shrink. And so we were able to find people who were loyal during that time. We didn't lay a single person off. As a matter of fact, we hired a couple of new people, and that's a success for me. And we have a lot of clients that didn't have that. And, and I have a lot of business owners that I had tough conversations with over the last 2 years. The dreaded B word, bankruptcy, right? And so I think that's the biggest success as a business owner, not just as an attorney, but as a business owner, is to build a team that when these storms come, y'all weather it together, and everybody comes out stronger, and the firm and the business comes out better. And I think that's the biggest success I've had as a business owner.
Yeah, and I just had a conversation this morning about this, whether it be Corona or for Houston, people are familiar with Harvey. You think back to the financial meltdown crisis if you're a real estate agent in 2008, 2010, is that those people that didn't look at it as a storm, but as an opportunity, they might not have exploded in their growth, yet they continued to grow during that time. And they gained market share that when everybody came back in that left, that market share was never given back. And so I commend you on that, having that growth in this period and continuing to grow, because as a business owner, you're going to see market share that you've picked up that will never be given back over.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
If you were to leave somebody with one piece of advice that's watching this video today, and it could be anything, personal or business, what is a piece of advice you'd like to leave?
The biggest piece of advice I have is to especially as a business owner, is that if you yourself aren't committed to it and understand it and are committed to the growth, then your people see that. And that can be in a variety of ways. If you have people, your employees who may be late constantly, and you're late constantly, it's one of those, the whole leaders eat last mentality. That you see yourself as a leader, and so that means you got to go out front and do it. And so I've recognized that when times in business when I may not be as present, and so my employees aren't as present. But when I'm present and I'm there, and I feel that they're there and they feel supported, and I realize that's really what it is that they feel supported. They know that the business is healthy and that we're all doing this and growing together. So be present and lead out front. That's the management style I like. That works for me. I realize there are a ton of different ones, but that's just my biggest piece of advice is lead.
Yes, rising tide lifts all boats, and be the rising tide.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Yeah, absolutely.
So somebody's listening to this today, and maybe they're about to start a business,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they've watched this and they've realized, okay, I may have gone 5 steps forward without taking the first step.
Yeah.
How do they get in touch with you?
Email is always a great option. It's Keith, Keith, at FultonStrahan.com, FultonStrahan.com. If this is in the SOAR community, I imagine, right, Jeremy, there's some DM, some inboxing ways for you to DM me and get in touch with me. I've noticed on the profile that there's tons of links to the website, to my email, to phone number, and you can just probably Google search me and find our firm. We're based out of Houston, Texas, but I represent clients all over Texas, and even some clients all over the nation and all over the world. So no matter where you are, let's just at least have a conversation. How I operate my firm is the first 15 minutes. I always like an intro call. A lot of people are like, well, it's going to cost this much to talk to me. Sometimes sometimes people just, I need this answer and I need this answer today. Some people I do a 15-minute intro call, just like, hey, who are you? What do you need? Let's build some rapport. And, let's, as you said, from the very beginning, just to circle back, I'm open to create that trust, because, I really do care about you and your business. And, I want to share my expertise to make you successful. And even if you were gung-ho and took 5 steps, awesome. Now let's figure out and make sure that those 5 steps were great. And, let's do a little bit now, maybe to protect you. But if you are someone starting out, still have a conversation too. I may say, as I told you, Jeremy, earlier, right? I may say, you don't need me yet. Come to me when you've got a little bit of revenue and let's do this. But you sound great. Go do it and let's talk later. That's just kind of how. So Keith at FultonStrahan.com, FultonStrahan.com. DM me in the group. Message me on Facebook. Probably not the best, but try to reach out to me and I will get back in touch. And we can at least set up initial conversation.
I love that. I always tell somebody, just throw me up a smoke signal. And
that's right. Yeah. If I knew how to read smoke signals, I would tell you to do that. Yeah.
All right. Well, Keith, I appreciate you taking the time today. I know you've got a busy schedule, but you brought so much value today to somebody that may just be on the precipice of launching, or realize that, hey, I've got to do something a little different to protect myself and also my family. So thank you, Keith, again. Keith, the Fulton Strahan Law Group, right here in Houston, Texas, serving small business owners all across the state, the nation, in fact, the world. And like he said, it all starts with a conversation. That's
right. And I know we're going to talk about all the issues through the coming months, right? This is why I love what you're doing, Jeremy, and I'm excited to be a part of this community. Generally a community, genuinely.
Watching this, we're going to jump into specific topics each month. Yeah. For those that join and do the membership, we'll do deep dives into specific topics that will help you and grow you in the business and help build that relationship with you and Keith. So I'm really excited about this. And Keith, thank you again.
Thank you, Jeremy. Have a great day, sir.
All right, take care.